I came from a high school class of 21, and I had a teacher that said, you know, there's summer school at IU, and maybe you ought to go to summer school. So I graduated from high school on Saturday and came to IU and was enrolled on Monday. I became a Little 500 writer, and I got involved in the Student Foundation, and then Bill Armstrong hired me to be the director of the Student Foundation, and, you know, just from there, learned the fundraising world.
Kurt left IU and held an impressive progression of development positions at the University of Tennessee, Yale School of Medicine, University of Alabama, University of Oregon, and the University of California, Berkeley.
I think the culture in these universities differs, and it provided a challenge to him to adapt to the culture.
But I never forgot this job, and when it came open, I think I talked to Harry Gonzo, who was on the board of trustees at the time, and a couple of other people called me, and then Tom Ehrlich hired me, and I got to come back.
Fundraising is one of those curious subjects which requires an established rapport between the fund seeker and the fund provider. And if that rapport cannot be established, I doubt very much that there'll ever be much success. That's what is so impressive about Kurt.
The best story for me is Jesse Cox. Mr. Cox gave us about $15 million in property, etc., and to start a scholarship program. Well, when he passed away, in addition to the $15 million, there was $77 million more. And it's all endowed scholarships. And there are literally hundreds of students who are getting 3/4 of their education paid for by Jesse and Beulah Cox.
The fact that the bottom line in the IU Foundation reports each year showing such substantial success mean he's good at what he does.
In 1987, when Kurt arrived, our annual giving was about $78 million. Last year it was $278 million. Our donors totaled 62,000 in 1987. Today they total more than 120,000 every single year. Our endowment has gone from $276 million to $1.5 billion at Indiana University.
The philosophy of going out, talking to people, and listening to their dreams spread, and so eventually we were able to reconcile this person's dream who's outside with where the institution was trying to go, and they came together.
During Kurt's 20 years of success at Indiana University, it's always been his experience as an undergraduate on the Bloomington campus that made his support of the university so sincere.
So I come here, and I was 17, just out of high school, and I find this place that opens its arms. It's just amazing what this place does to open the world to you. Culturally, intellectually, experientially, the place is just unbelievable. And then you find people who are willing to take the time to teach you something beyond what you're doing in the classroom.
He may not have the same credentials of some of the highly distinguished scientific and literary talents that hold positions at the university. But what he has accomplished is every bit as essential to the success of that institution as those other people.
I think he's probably made more friends for Indiana University than anybody since Herman Wells.
Kurt, in my judgment, would stand at the top of the list. He has made a success of himself that is the envy, I believe, of virtually every other charitable organization, certainly the ones here in Indiana, and certainly the educational institutions.
In those days, when ropes were so important to the Swiss mountain climbers to get them from one peak to another, the ways in which the ropes were manufactured and constructed had real importance and real meaning. And the ropes were manufactured so that the center strands in the rope were the strongest. They held true when the outer strands might, because of the friction against the mountains or the ice or whatever, be frayed and fall away. But the center strands would hold. That's Kurt. He's the center strand in the rope. And he's held strong for a long time.